Well, hello everyone, it's Mary, and I'm off to a late start because I couldn't get the Wi-Fi to work again, so I'm going to cross my fingers that we're going to stay live. So welcome to my Live at 5 class. Unfortunately, we're running an hour ahead of behind schedule, I guess, because of my Wi-Fi situation here. What a frustrating week it's been. So if anybody finds that we are not broadcasting properly, please let me know because I'll exit and I'll try to figure it out. So hi everyone, glad you're able to tune in. Sorry for being late. I've been fighting this stupid Wi-Fi. But anyway, I've been working really hard to launch my Love It, Chop It club. So if you've been following along with a lot of my classes, you will have noticed that I've been addicted to the Love It, Chop It craze. It's kind of sweeping the Stampin' Up! World lately, as far as I'm concerned. I'm obsessed. And my craft room is finally able to be entered without tripping over boxes and piles. If you saw my post the other day, it was really bad. It's still not great, but it's much better. I can walk through the room and I actually get lost entering my room because I have been stepping over piles for so long that to be able to just walk across the floor and not watch where I'm going is really throwing me off. Isn't that funny? So the room's getting better. It's getting better. I'm psyched. And a lot of it has to do with Love It, Chop It. So if you're new to my channel and new to my page, what is Love It, Chop It? Well, Love It, Chop It is loving your designer series paper enough to let it go. So basically it's loving your paper enough to chop it up into pieces and use it and share it with your friends and family on cards instead of storing it and hoarding it. Because you don't want to end up like me. Trust me, you do not want to end up like me and have to move and have to box up all of your stuff and then unpack it and realize how truly bad it has become. So I got addicted to Love It, Chop It a while back, and I started chopping paper, and truly I've never looked back and I've never been happier. So I'm really excited to start to share the craze with everyone else. So my Love It, Chop It club launches now. It's now live. And I've been trying to send out emails and messages to everybody who responded that they were interested in the club. So bear with me if you haven't received your email yet. Here's a formal announcement and more is coming. Just with this whole Wi-Fi thing this week, I've been kind of late getting out those emails and I apologize, but it's kind of not my fault. I'm going to blame the Wi-Fi. So what I've done is I've created a club code. So if you're interested in the Love It, Chop It club, here is your code for the official launch. So what does being a member of the Love It, Chop It club mean? Okay. Well, basically, it is a product-based club because if you're not familiar, Stampin' Up! Demonstrators, we do have minimums that we have to meet every month, and we hate to discuss, you know, the old money, but that's kind of what it comes down to. So Love It, Chop It is a product-based club. Every month I'll have a suggested order. It doesn't mean you have to order that. It's just a suggested order. And the products that I suggest for the order are going to be the products that are highlighted in that month's club tutorials. So what does it come down to? Every month, club members will be required to place an order of $35 minimum in my online store using the hostess code that corresponds to that month's club. Okay? So, in that $35, you can buy anything you want. I will have a suggested order, but the suggested order is just based upon the tutorial for that month. So if you already own those products, you don't have to buy them again. It's just a suggested order. So every month, your obligated to spend $35 a month in my online store using the hostess code that corresponds to the Love It, Chop It Club. What do you get for your $35? Well, every month I will be sending out a 4-card tutorial using the Love It, Chop It formula, and there'll be 4 unique cards using the formula. And the formula can be broken down into mini formulas from the larger formula. The club cards and projects and formulas, or what you might want to call it, a card map, whatever you want to call it, are exclusive to the club. So you will not see them shared on my blog. You will not see them shared here on my Facebook page. You will not see them shared in a Live at 5 class. They are going to be exclusive to the club. So only the club members are going to receive those card tutorials. All right. At the end of your 4th month, okay, so after 4 months, you will receive your very own Love It, Chop It bag. And because I'm also a 31 consultant, it's going to be a 31 Littles carry-all, and it's going to be personalized with your name, the hashtag Love It, Chop It, and an embroidered icon, okay? And these bags are perfectly sized to hold 4 of our large wood mount stamp cases that you can purchase empty. And those are actually in the suggested order for the first month. And it holds 4 of them. All right. So that means you can hold your 4 months of loved and chopped pieces in your Littles carry-all that you receive on month 4. All right. So that is my gift to you for being a member of my Love It, Chop It Club. And you can see here that, yes, indeed, 4 full-size wood cases do fit inside this Littles carry-all. So you can fit all 4 months of your designer series paper that's been chopped into this bag. All right, so that's my gift to you at the end of the 4 months. So during the 4 months, you get your 4 unique card tutorials with the step-by-step instructions for creating the cards and the Love It, Chop It formula, cut formula, and the bag on your 4th month. So that's kind of the Love It, Chop It Club in a nutshell. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask me, send me a private message, or email, text, however you wish to contact me, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. I'm just following a cheat sheet here, and I think I've covered everything. The only thing I'm going to add is that if you're a scrapbooker and you're interested in scrapbooking, I started as a scrapbooker and I would love to get back into it. So if you're a scrapbooker, send me a message when you join the club. And I'm really thinking I want to start doing more with scrapbooking, and I'd be happy to put together a page layout every month for the scrapbookers and using the Love It, Chop It formulas within that page. So that might be a way for me to get reinvigorated with scrapbooking and get back into it, as well as be able to share it with the rest of you. So that's it on my Love It, Chop It Club. So what are we gonna do for class today? Okay, so Kathy, you do have to do 4 consecutive months, because I think if I get into a month-by-month thing, it's going to be too helter-skelter, and it's going to be really too hard for me to track when you've ordered, when you haven't ordered, when is your 4th month, when do I owe you a bag, when do I need to be messaging you to see what you'd like on your bag. It's just going to be way too crazy for me personally. So I'm really going to keep it to the 4 consecutive months. So if the first 4 months don't work for you, then maybe you catch the second 4 months, and so on, just because I really can't see myself having to have a spreadsheet and keep track of everybody. It's going to be way too hard for me. So it'll be 4 consecutive months. All right, so today's card is going to be a sample of what you can expect within your 4 months of the Love It Chop It Club. Now, if you've been following with me, you've seen a whole lot of different cards that we've done using my Love It Chop It formula. And I had a pile of them. Do you think I know what I did with them? No. I had them. Here's some. So, for example, we did this in a class, and this follows the my Love It Chop It. We did this in a class. That one follows Love It Chop It. This uses the same stamp set, and that one followed Love It Chop It. That one followed Love It Chop It. This really cute camper card, that was a Love It Chop It card. This coffee card, this one was a Love It Chop It card. And this is the same card using a different layout. That was Love It Chop It. We also did some masculine cards. That was Love It Chop It. Then we flipped it. That was Love It Chop It. And I'm flipping. This was a Love It Chop It card. So as you can see, there's a whole lot of different ways that you can highlight and utilize the Love It Chop It formula. Also, these two, these were Love It Chop It cards. Those were really fun to do. I gotta do some more with that tractor. So there's just some general ideas of what we've done here in my classes leading up to my forming the Love It Chop It Club. So what are we gonna do today? Let's get started with today's card. So today's card, I actually discovered a watercolor wash card on the Stampin' Up website, and I made it a Mary card. So I Maryized it. Maryized it? Is that a word? Let's use the term Maryized. I Maryized it. So today's card is this card right here. So I've used the Rooted in Nature stamp set. Once again, Father's Day is coming. It makes me think of masculine cards. I don't need a lot of Father's Day cards, but you know, you can never have too many masculine card ideas. So this is today's card that we're gonna do today. And it's my version of a card that I found on the Stampin' Up site. And we're gonna be using the Rooted in Nature stamp set. This is new in our annual catalog, and it's using Love It Chop It paper. So I've already started chopping my paper, and we're just going to use one piece, and it's going to be this piece right here, which is basically a leaf pattern, and it is basically soft suede with a white overlay of leaves. So we're going to be using that, and that's a Love It Chop It piece right out of the box. Took it right out of here. If you don't believe me, there's all my papers right here. I think this is only one sheet of each pattern. And then I have my mats and some card bases. I still have work to do on this one. It's been one of those weeks. I've been loving and chopping a lot of paper this week. I think I've gone through 2 blades. All right, so the next thing I need is a piece of watercolor paper. Now, our watercolor paper is really odd size. It's 6 by 9. So I basically cut it into 4 pieces so that I can utilize the maximum of my paper. So this should be 3 by 4.5. So it's 3 inches and then 4.5 inches. I think you can see that on your screens. So that's my piece of watercolor paper. Then I have a mat that's only 1/8 of an inch larger, and that's in the soft suede. Then I have my Love It Chop It mat. That's in mint macaron. And if you've been following me, that is not one of my favorite colors. I kind of groaned when it came back, and I'm trying to love it. So I'm using it again. And then I have a card base, and that is in the soft suede, 4¼ by 11, and scored and folded in half that way. So for inks, we're going to be using, I should go in order of the watercolor wash, right? So we're going to play with some Balmy Blue. That is one of our new colors. We're also going to be playing with the Mint Macaron. We're going to be adding the Tranquil Tide, and then we're going to have some soft suede. I'm also using a watercolor pen and a spritzer. Okay. So actually it's called an aqua painter, but same thing. Watercolor pen, aqua painter, same thing. Aqua painter, spritzer. Then I have my mini dimensionals. I've got my Rooted in Nature stamp set. And today we're going to be using the Just For You. And we're also going to be using the Pine Tree. Then I wanted to die cut using the Nature's Roots Framelits, which is a bundle with the Rooted in Nature stamp set. They go together. You get your 10% discount. My card that I intended didn't work out, so we're not using it, but just so you know, it is bundled so that you can get your 10%. And instead, we are going to be using the circle from Lakeside Framelits Dies. And I want that to cut out my greeting because it's just the right size. And it's just a neat way to utilize a die from a different set that has nothing to do with the set you're using. I'm also going to be using the linen thread because it's a nice masculine thread. And I've got my liquid glue. For essentials, I have my paper snips, and I'm using up my fast fuse. So if you're all out of fast fuse, you can use tear and tape. That would be what I would recommend for today's card. All right, so we got all of our tools ready. I also have a heat tool. Now I'm using the heat tool because I need this thing to dry. I did not have time to, by the magic of Facebook Live, do another background that would be ready for you, and I could just pull it in and say, oh, look, by magic, it's dry. I didn't have time for that, so we're gonna rush it. We're gonna use the heat tool. So let's get started. I'm gonna take all these other pieces out of the way. All I need right now is my piece of watercolor paper. I'm also going to bring in a piece of scrap. I'm going to move my inks out of the way for a minute and bring in my scrap paper. And then I'm going to take my watercolor paper, and I'm going to pray this works because you don't want to know how many pieces I have laying over on my table where this whole process didn't work for me. I was supposed to be cleaning my mess, not making a mess. So there's a few failures tucked away where you can't see them. All right, so I'm going to tape this down. I'm taping it down because this paper tends to warp a little bit when it gets wet, and I need it to stay flat for the video, but also because when I come back with the heat tool, it's going to help it kind of keep its shape. So I'm going to start by squishing all of my inks, all of my ink pads, and I will warn you ahead of time that our old style of ink pads did squish a little bit better than the new styles. So I highly recommend the re-inkers, which of course I do not have. So I'm going to start by spritzing my watercolor paper just a little bit. I had done, when I did this card, I just kind of washed the paper with the aqua painter, but it just occurred to me, hello Mary, why don't you just use the spritzer? It'd be so much easier. So hey, there you go, we're gonna try that. So I have my aqua painter. I'm using the larger tip because I want to do a big wash, and it's faster if you use the larger tip. And I do have it filled with water. All right. So I'm just going to get this wet, and this first color I'm using is the Balmy Blue. All right. And watercoloring is not something I'm entirely comfortable with. You guys can laugh. But I am so, I don't know, I think the term you'd want to use is rigid. That I actually prefer to have lines to follow. I like rules and I like lines. And watercoloring is so freeform that it actually makes me nervous. Can you even comprehend that? Am I completely alone, or can people actually understand that? I don't know. I mean, okay, so Linda's saying watercoloring can be so relaxing, you never have two alike. Well, it makes me nervous. Okay, so now I've got that mint macaron. Not my favorite. But Stampin' Up! Used it in their version of the card, so I figured I had to use it. It's growing on me. I don't know. I guess the more I like it, the more I'll get comfortable. Now I'm going to bring in the Tranquil Tide and look at the amount of ink that sucker left. Oops. I'm going to have to be really careful now. Oh, that's a lot. I'm going to water it down just a scotch. I don't know. This whole freeform thing just makes me nervous. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. You can say it, Mary, you're just weird. All right, and then I've got my soft suede. Linda's telling me take a deep breath and go with the flow. Does that sound like something that Mary does? Go with the flow? Yeah. All right, so here's my soft suede. And that's going to be our ground. And the only thing I can say I like about this is that I'm trying to make a hill. Because I want to put my tree on a hill. All right. All right, so in between, all I did is clean off my brush off camera on a piece of paper towel in between colors, just so I didn't contaminate. All right, and now we're just gonna have to dry it, so you're gonna have to excuse the noise for a minute while I dry this. All right, so I'm just gonna try to dry this a bit. Ooh, I got some puddling there. Let's try to push it. All right, so I don't like the way that pushed. So I'm going to soften that up a bit. I don't want crusty edges. But that's the great thing about watercoloring, right? You can just go back and change it. And now you can say, okay, Mary, you're going a little bit overboard. But I don't like that either. Everyone's saying, oh, it's pretty. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. All right, that I like much better. I'm telling you, I'm rigid. It's scary. All right, it's never going to be the way I want it. But I actually kind of like that. That's okay. All right, I can live with that. There's a little gradient to my hill. I can live with it. It's not perfect, but you know, I guess it's watercolor. It's supposed to be free form. All right, so I'm just gonna set that aside for a minute and let it dry a little bit more. And I'm gonna put these layers together while I do that, just to make sure it's dry. So I need my glue. Last time when I made my sample, I did the fast fuse, and it sticks too well and too fast, and it doesn't give me any flexibility. So I truly have a love-hate relationship with fast fuse, but I am still gonna miss it tremendously. All right, so I wanna put the designer series paper piece down on the mint macaron. And there's just enough of a border to give me that little bit of added layer and dimension between the designer series paper and the card base. And then I'm gonna put glue on the back of this. Ugh. No lumps and bumps with this glue, I'll tell you. All right. Did I get any on the inside? No. All right, so I'm gonna flat glue this to the front. Now, if you wanted to, you could pop this up on dimensionals. But for today's project, I'm just putting it flat in case I have to mail it. All right, so now I'm gonna come back in with my watercolor piece, and that seems like it's pretty good and dry. So I need my tree that's already up on the block, and I need my soft suede. Now, when I was watching the video from Stampin' Up, they had inked up the tree and then spritzed it with water. Well, you don't wanna see what happened when I did that. It's not that I really did anything wrong, but I think my early espresso, I must have re-inked it recently and been a little heavy with the re-inker, because what I got was a hot mess compared to what they got. I mean, we're talking vast years of difference. So I'm gonna take my tree, and I've made a hill. I'd made the tree in the downhill on this card, but this time the tree's going on the uphill. And I'm just gonna stamp it on my hill. And then I'm gonna pray that it's not a disaster. And that's not bad, that came out okay. But then, because I wanted to get that little watercolor wash, like I said, when Stampin' Up! Did it, they spritzed the ink, the inked up stamp on the block. But when I did that, it became this just free-form bleeding mess. So what I'm doing is actually stamping the watercolored image and then letting that dry. Okay, so even that one is a little bit more spritzed than this one, and it could be the distance that I had between me and the image. I might have had it further away with the first one, but we're gonna go with this because you can see this one and that one was much better. But we're gonna go with this, and I'm just gonna take up some of that because it's a little too much even for me. And I must admit, I like this one better because there's got more distance, but this isn't horrible. I can live with it. I can work with this. But what I'm not liking, hey, you know what? We're live. You gotta go with the flow. Just because you don't love it, I'm just gonna come in and wash some more color in there. Kind of patch it up. I think I probably held my mister a little too close to the tree, but you get the general idea, right? So I'm just gonna patch that a little bit. So you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it, right? The only thing I can say is I thought my sample turned out perfect. This one, eh. So we're gonna put it aside for a second because I want that to dry a little bit. And we're gonna do our greeting, all right? So I've got my greeting and all it says is just for you, because then it can be Father's Day, it can be a birthday, it can be sympathy, it can be anything. And I need some very vanilla scrap. And I need my soft suede again. And that tree is bleeding profusely. So like I said, you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. One or the other. So I've got my soft suede. And I've got my just for you. And then, oh, that tree is really bleeding. I need my big shot. And Mr. Cracks is making a reappearance. All right, so I got that. And then I need, all right. You know, it helps if you don't put your big shot on top of the image that you need to cut out. So I've got that, and then I just need my die. So again, we're gonna get the lakeside framelits, and we're gonna take the circle out. Christina, you crack me up. Yep, it's Mr. Cracks. If it's not Mr. Cracks, it's Baby Bo barking. All right, so we're gonna cover up just for you with that circle. And we're gonna crank it through. And it's pretty funny, I get a lot of questions about what's the blue tape for, and people come up with some really creative reasons why I have blue tape on my board, and none of them are that the board's cracked in half. So it's pretty funny. It's a conversation starter. All right, so what's the first thing I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put this away. Why? Because I still have not found that heart die, and I think it's gone forever. All right, so here's my little just for you. Oh my gosh, look at how much this tree bled. It doesn't even look like a tree anymore, but we have to work with it because it's what I have. So I've got my piece of soft suede that's all cut. And we're gonna take this. So there's a lesson for you. The further back you hold your spritzer from your project, the better your tree is gonna look. This one doesn't even really look like a tree anymore. But what I'm thinking is I might be able to stamp over it with the tree image again and bring some of that real tree form back into it. So I've got my greeting, I have my mat, I have my watercolor piece, and I'm gonna punch a little teeny tiny hole at the top, if I can see it. All right, where the heck is the hole? I'm holding it upside down. All right. Okay. All right, so Christina's thinking I should stamp the tree again. Should I do it now in front of everybody? Or do it when I'm alone? Where'd I put the stamp? Anybody know where I put that stamp? Because I don't. I don't see it. I cleaned my room, really. How come I can't find a stamp on a block? Ugh, probably because it's behind me. So I wonder if I can do it just by restamping what I already had. What do you think? Think I can line it up, or am I going to wreck it? Oh my gosh, I'm scared, Christina. I'm scared. It's all your fault, Christina, if it doesn't work. Oh, it kind of worked. It looks better. Look, it kind of worked. It is dry. I used the heat tool. That looks better. Good idea, Christina. I think it worked. I don't have to be upset with you because it worked. I wouldn't have been upset with you anyway, but, you know, the threat was there. All right, so I'm just going to use the fast fuse. Now, this is where if you were doing this at home and you didn't have access to some retired fast fuse, I would use the tear and tape because you really want something that's going to hold really well when you use the watercolor paper. You probably could use liquid glue, but I'm not going to take that chance during a live class. My luck is bad enough as it is. So I think, Christina, it does look a lot better now that I stamped that tree again without inking it back up. It looked better when I did this card and I held it further away and spritzed, but you get the idea, right? This is all about learning from my mistakes, right, guys? All right, so on this one, I'm just going to take the twine and I'm going to wrap it around. And what did I do? I think I went 1, 2, 3, 4 times around. But you can certainly wrap as much as you wish. And then we're just going to take our little die cut, pass it through the hole, and then I just tied a knot because this is going to be for a masculine card, and that says knot to me as opposed to bow. So I'm just going to do a really, and I also don't want this to be too fluffy, so to speak, because that'll give you the flexibility to use it for any occasion, whether it be Father's Day, birthday, those dreaded sympathy cards. I didn't close my ink pad. All right. And then I'm going to use a mini dimensional because this little circle guy, he's pretty small. And we're just going to add a mini dimensional onto our greeting. Okay, so just stick it on the back and arrange it so it's hanging off there. And then you can just adjust your threads here any way you want them. I just want to spread them out a little. I don't want them all junked together. And then we're going to use our regular dimensionals, which I thought I had out here. Oh, there they are. Regular size dimensionals on the back. And because this is watercolor paper, I'm just going to add a little bit extra on the dimensionals because I don't want it sagging, coiling, all that type of stuff. Pull off all these little guys. All right. I know, we got dead air time while I pull these off. Come on, come on, come on. All right. So we're going to put this on the front, make sure it's straight. All right, well, there you go. So you get the general idea. I kind of like this one better. This one's a little bit more freeform, but it's not horrible. you know, so you get the idea. So there's our card for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And you've now gotten all the information on my Love It Chop It Club. That is open for enrollment now. It will close on June 15th. And on the 15th of the month, the first month's tutorials and cut instructions will go out. If there's enough interest in the Love It Chop It Club, I'd like to start a private Facebook group where I can do the month's projects via live video demonstration on the group page, and have pinned on the page the basic cutting instructions, because there's actually 3 different Love It, Chop It bases. One is the one that I've been sharing all along. Then there's one based on cutting your paper to 6 inches by 12. And then there's another one for the 6 by 6. So there's actually 3 different baselines for our basic formulas, and it would be so much easier if I could post those in a group as opposed to only relying on PDFs. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. But the first step is to join. So if you join by June 15th using this hostess code at checkout on my website, you will be enrolled in the launch of my Love It Chop It Club. So thanks, everybody. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you next week if I don't catch you before. So have a great night, everybody. See you soon. Bye.